Okay. Well, we think it's recording.
Sounds like it.
I'm. We are spread over the place this week. I'm in Barcelona. Rob's in South Africa,
Cape Town. Yeah, Cape
Cape Town,
Town.
South Africa. Kimbo's in North Edinburgh, and Jordan's in West Edinburgh.
Very,
So
Exotic.
yeah,
all
exotic
exotic,
of us.
different climates everywhere. So we're going to do a quick. I don't not make it too quick, but a quite succinct part two to things we wish we knew when we were just growing up playing golf. Graphic to be confirmed. Rob said he was going to do it. Let's see if he will.
To be continued.
To be continued. So, yeah, the graphics might come up next week, and I hope you don't like them as much as you like mine. So, but if you do, then Rob's got a new job, so that makes my life easier.
He's going to do that incompetence thing and make it terrible, so he never has to do it again.
Yeah, never ask him again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so this week we'll obviously talk about the golf and everything that happened over the weekend, but I'm just looking at what we covered last week, the first 5 out of 10, which were know your blueprint and play to it. That was number one, and that was actually quite good how these all tied in the end. Number two, develop one go-to shot shape first, which then opened up conversations about hitting it both ways, one-way misses, things like that. Three, get custom fit, especially driver time and time money well spent. We all agreed on that one. Number four, distance is a weapon, which I got some good clips from. Although one person disagreed in particular on social media, it didn't bother me at all. So yeah, the dinosaurs out there hitting it straight first, having a repeatable swing. Sorry, mate, that's not what the numbers say. But it's a common misconception. That's why we're here. And then number five, know your yardages and shot flights. So yeah, know what yardages and shot flights and spin control. And this week, I'm not going to give them all away. I'm actually not going to give any of them away right now because we're just going to do them as we go through the podcast. So, Jordan, we'll hand over to you to summarize what happened over the weekend. The golf. I think hopefully a lot of our viewers know what happened. There's one incident in particular, but take it away.
Okay, well, we'll start with the PGA Tour, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
And we can end on the other.
I don't even know what happened to the PGA Tour because the TP. No, I do.
You do. Justin Rose, a wide-to-wide victory at the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines.
Huge.
62, 65, 68, and 70. 23 under par, tournament record. Thanks for coming. It's the second time he's won it.
And now third in the world.
Third in the world. He is the second oldest player to be ever in the top three in the world rankings.
Crazy. Who was the other
two?
Well,
Nicholson,
Vijay Singh,
Mickelson, and Vijay Singh.
Steve
Ethan
Stricker.
saw the graphic because there's no way he knew that.
All right.
Kemp still guessing.
I know.
That must be delayed in Edinburgh.
Including him. Who are the two? Yeah, who are the two others? And Kemp would thought of another one.
Yeah. Lucas
Yard card, Kemp. 1, 2.
Yeah, right.
And then it was on the DP World Tour out in Bahrain, where Callum Hill had a one-shot lead going down the last, made bogey, and then it was actually a three-way playoff between him, Freddie Schott, the 24-year-old from Germany, and Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed bogeyed the first playoff hole, and after actually hitting it into the face of a bunker for his second shot, actually, which was quite interesting. And then Callum Hill hit it out of bounds on the second playoff hole, and then shanked his fourth into the water. Actually, for the first time I've ever seen, conceded a playoff, which I thought was rather interesting.
I did never seen that before either.
Never seen that before.
Usually
But
happens when you're putting for a 9, doesn't it?
Yeah, if I was in his shoes, I'd probably want to do the same thing, to be fair. So
yeah,
but he'll come back. He'll come back.
I thought it was a
3-time winner on the DP World Tour. So
I thought it took away from the guy who won. Though, was like at least give him a putt. I know he'll have loads of putts, but at least give him a putt to win. I mean,
it's not the way you dream it up, is it? Getting a concession on the last green, you kind of want to fist bump, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. If you let him chip and let him putt.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, he's already let him chip. He chipped up to about 8 feet, so he could have held a decent putt.
Yeah,
great fist bump.
I was surprised how nervous Callum looked.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the last 3 driving down after the last event, and we were in the car, and he was stepping out of every shot. He never looked settled. He never looked like he was happy with the decision he'd made. And then he pulled off his 18th tee shot 3 times, which was, I mean, we were shouting in the car with Benjamin Rush, just shouting, just what are you doing? Just, like he's won 3 times, twice.
3 times, yeah.
But when was the last
3
time he
times,
won,
yeah.
though? It's a big gap, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know actually.
No, not that long. It's 2 years.
I would say
I'll
never.
find
Winning's
out.
never easy, and if you've got a big gap, and you've been working your swing, it must kind of feel pretty similar again.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
yeah, to bogey,
yeah.
because he bogeyed the 18th in regulation. Is that right? So he
Yeah.
could have won it.
Yeah.
Right.
The 18th in regulation, yeah.
Yeah, and he got his drive away, didn't he? He hit a good drive in regulation. And then it was,
Yeah, but just stepping off it 3 times just showed that he was never like in control of what was going on.
Yeah.
I felt.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah,
feel
he
you.
just
I feel
feels
him.
for
I
him.
feel for him. I feel for him. I know how he feels.
I mean, we turned the TV on at the perfect time, not for him, but perfect time for us to view, which was he was up like behind that bunker, and we're like, oh, he's 3 off the tee here, and then just shank dropped the club, and before the commentators even said the S word, me and Jordan looked at each other and went, he's just shanked that.
Usually happens when it goes out the right side of the TV. It's kind of a giveaway.
I hit the LED board. I think
it was a top tier shank. That
proper shank.
That's one that will go down in history as one of the best ones. Well, not for Callum probably.
No, I know.
Yeah, the situation was terrible, but in terms of the execution, it was a perfect shank.
He literally missed the
The
leg.
execution.
Yeah.
You're looking to shank the ball. That is 101.
A nice little €200,000 bonus though for coming second.
Nice.
He'll take
I know, but that's the least your worries, isn't it? After you've.
I wouldn't say the least, but.
I don't know. I feel like there's ways to lose playoffs, and obviously that's a very memorable one for him. That's one of those you just hope when he gets that position again, he just pushes through, or he almost has like such a big lead that he can afford to kind of just wobble across the line.
Yeah. The fact that he had par to win and then does that in the playoff must make it feel even worse.
Yeah, 100%.
He actually hit green in reg. He had 2 putts to win, but his putt was impossible. And the commentator said, if he just chips this, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
And because he could only putt it to about 20, 25 feet.
Okay.
But if he chipped it, he could get it, just hit it over the bump, over the shoulder on the green and get it inside like 6,
you're bringing
8 feet.
in a number there, aren't you? He could blade the thing.
Yeah, well, he probably a bit premeditated of what was going to happen in the.
I know. I probably would have.
playoff.
Yeah, he should have turned around and whacked back up the fairway, shouldn't he? Really?
Yeah. Well, without making a point out of it for too long, but I saw a few mentions, or not memes, but people like saying, look how like fragile this swing is under pressure. And I look at his swing, and it did look a bit snappy towards the end, but at the same time, he got himself in a position to win the tournament. So it's not obviously the swing.
He's got a solid
move. If you're backing off a shot 3 times, that's not down to the swing.
Not at all.
No. I mean, if you've got a 1-shot lead going down the last of a European Tour event, your swing's pretty okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I get the point, which is you have swings that you throw a bit of pressure at it and it doesn't hold up, but he's obviously felt pressure throughout the week. And I know he's trying to get across the finish line, but that's not the swing. The fact if he was doing his routine the exact same and then was still shanking it or back, and then that's an issue. But the fact that he was backing off, it's obviously to do with his routine, his mindset. It's not the technique necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the ball. I mean, he won the Joburg Open in 2025 in a playoff after shooting 62 in the final round. So he's got balls, hasn't he?
Exactly.
But yeah, commiserations to him. But I'm sure he'll be back.
I'm sure he'll listen. So yeah, he'll appreciate those commiserations.
Well, he was our good friend Finley, so commiserations to him. But anyway, right back into.
Is it worth saying before we? Sorry, is it worth saying before we carry on? It's probably worth another episode because it's a point we've touched on quite a lot. But Liv now get world ranking points in the top 10.
That is huge. that is a huge announcement. That changes everything.
Yeah,
I think they
it
needed it. It
does.
was timely because at the moment they're getting a bit of slack. Everyone's, a lot of their big hitters are leaving the tour and obviously saying something. They're not exactly slagging off Liv, but I think the stuff they're saying about the PGA Tour then secondarily kind of slags off Liv. And then there's stuff coming out, Bryson complaining about the move to 72 holes, not saying, saying that's not what we signed up for. It's not really a different product anymore. So yeah, it was timely.
Yeah,
It
I'm
was.
not.
It felt like they were taking
Hits.
hit after hit after hit after hit, and this is a huge uppercut back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
This is
it's one of those. It's kind of I've not looked into the numbers and exactly how it would like. It doesn't make sense that it's top 10 and not top 12 or 15, but on the face of it, it seems about right. You're on a smaller tour, the top fifth of the field with no cut. Unless they're with the 72 holes, is there still no cut? I'm guessing.
No, it's a
no,
made-up
no.
cut.
So it seemed like it feels about right that the top fifth of the field will get world ranking points and the rest don't.
And that top fifth of the field probably competitive on the PGA Tour as well, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be a deep top 10 that.
Yeah, they said the equivalent ranking points for a PGA Tour event would be the ISCO Championship.
Okay. So it's like a token world ranking kind of thing. It's
not, that's one of those ones I think the ISCO actually goes on like the week before a major or on the same week as a major.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah, so, but if you win, still good points. They'll take them.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to say that.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll get into a full episode. A lot of things happen with Liv and Patrick Reed and coming back in August.
I think we should have an actual episode about Patrick Reed, actually.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
That could be a good. That's a shout, actually.
How to hit bunker shots with Patrick Reed. Yeah.
Okay, carry on. We'll save it.
But yeah, we'll get into. I say the final five. Hopefully, we'll have more tips as this podcast goes on. We're not going to just speak about Liv for the rest of time, but when we're summarizing the top 10 things we wish we knew, these are obviously the last five that we put together and kind of consolidated into separate points. So number 6, but the first of this episode, is practice with purpose and track progress. So it's something we've actually talked about before in terms of having intentional practice, performance tracking over time, and pressure practice. So yeah, maybe Rob, give us a bit of a summary on when I say intentional practice or practicing with a purpose. What would you mean by that?
Yeah, so first thing, if I go into any practice session beforehand, I'll know what's my goal of the session. I think the worst thing you can do is just go to the range without any idea of what you're doing, because then you just end up hitting a few 7-irons or a couple of wedges, a few 7-irons, and you're into your woods, and you're hitting these massive slices, and you're just getting fed up, and you think this is the worst, and then you just get worse and worse. We've all done it. I've done it for many winters, and you just don't get better at golf. So like before any session, it's like, okay, what do I need to? What's my priority right now? If it's if my stock shot's a draw. So firstly, I'm just going to make sure, if I take this week, for example, like at the tournament on Sunday, I started overdrawing. My stock shot was drawing too much. So then that's the first thing I'll fall back down to is my stock shot. As we mentioned, like in the last one, of what's important is to really have control over your stock shot. Because that's what it gets you through a round of golf in a solid way is if your stock shot is on. And so the first thing I did went to the range and hit some fades and some neutral shots and some draws, but quite a lot of fades just to neutralize my pad out a bit, just to make sure that draw wasn't drawing too much anymore. So that's the priority. So then you focus your session on that. It's like, okay, it's a stock shot session. We're making sure that stock shot is on. And then you have different priorities. So then if your stock shot's on, then you'll have, it'll go to like my Wednesday session today was, okay, the whole point was to be ready for first rounds tomorrow. Okay, I want to be ready to play golf tomorrow. So going into my practice session this afternoon, it was all about being performance ready. So full routines, committing to numbers, picking different targets, being ready to play competitive golf on Thursday. So you have a session on Monday, which is completely different to the session on Wednesday, and that's all down to the goals you set for to your practice before going into the range session. You can't come up with this stuff when you're at the range because, as you all know, once you're in that kind of golf vacuum, the common
Love for the
sense
game takes over.
common sense can leave you fairly quickly. I've definitely seen it in the four of us fairly often when the
Is it-
front cortex of your brain just starts going tick, tick, tick,
and
tick.
it goes, I can hit 15 drivers here and I don't have to pick the ball up. I can get on board with that.
Yeah,
But it's
that's it. Yeah,
but it's interesting, yeah, because when you talk about like structure and intentional practice, people think it's like really rigid and you're just doing the same thing over and over again. But you're saying depending, I suppose it's alongside tournament prep, depending on what you have that week, you're setting out a schedule to practice. Doesn't mean you're practicing the same thing every time, but as you say, closer to game time, you're working on pre-shot routine. Probably in the off season, you're working more on your technique. Like at the minute, I am having pretty rigid practice sessions. It means that when I go on the golf course, I play terribly. But I know that if I'm peaking at this time of the year, that's not a good sign. Not necessarily it's not a good sign. It just means that I'm not putting the proper graft in. You need to sometimes
yeah.
get worse to get better. So at the moment,
When are you trying to peak for, Ethan? Well, what's
I'm
your
trying to peak for 2029 at this rate. I think would be pretty good. But like they are pretty structured. Like I'm going to the range, and I think this is where getting lessons or getting coaching helps because it's one thing to get the the feedback and the lesson and something to work on, but that is the big part is you got something to work on and you know what to look for when you're working on. It's not just like, oh yeah, you slice it so you start slicing it less. That is look at this body position, look at your wrists, your keep track of your grip over time, and then you go to the range and you should be recording. I know Jordan's a big fan of this, like recording nearly every shot that you hit. Because there might be one you go, oh, I got it that time. And then you could look on video and go, no, I didn't do it. Or it's nowhere near, and you're like, I feel like I'm way over here, like the feel versus real. And then you watch the video and go, no, actually, I could do this even more. I could exaggerate it even more. So, yeah, at the moment, I am quite structured in terms of I'm doing the same thing at the range, but yeah, it depends on where you are in terms of you're playing on tours. You need to be sharp, whereas at the minute, being sharp isn't exactly my intention.
Yeah, I think though the structured one is something that kind of gets people in the wrong way. Like people don't know how to actually use the structure, and then it
Mhm.
never transfers onto the course. Like I'm just going to take you, Ethan, because it's an easy example, but you've been working on your hip sway for months, and you go to one range session and you don't work on it, and it's already back down to the square one.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
because you need to train. So we did a lot of work with this with Stuart Morgan with the Swiss team, which was fantastic about learning of how to transfer your actual practice into your normal, into your like making moving your patterns right and making them natural. And it's very complicated, and and you have to do you basically the best is to do three balls structured.
Mhm.
So do the really exaggerate your movement, but then hit three balls to three different targets, just thinking of that feel that you have, but you're still hitting the shot as if you're in like on a golf course.
Mhm.
But it has to be to three different targets, and then you go back to your three really structured, like you're really focusing on moving that hip into the right spot, and then you hit the three shots to different targets with that with that kind of external feel of like, okay, I'm trying to get that hip. And then you get to a place where you're not hitting 40 balls where you're really feeling that hip. And then you hit one, then to a target, and your your hip
Well,
just
yeah.
doesn't move.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you do that, and then you've done 4 months of winter work on it, and you play you video yourself the first course of the year, and your swings at exactly the same spot it was
As it was.
as in November, yeah. And that's what people like find really hard. Like the amount of
Mhm.
people I've seen work on their swing and it be no different and they put hours in, and it's just so frustrating. Right? There's nothing more frustrating. I mean, you must know that.
Yeah,
I've seen
I
you.
know. I know more than
Yeah.
anything because it's not like I've got the stage now where I've got
I mean,
my
you
swing.
must you
You
must
must
know
know.
I've
that.
got my. So what I was saying, like about peaking or whatever, you can take the piss out of that if you want. But and like before, I would always kind of pride myself that even if I'm not hitting the ball 100%, like I can get a ball around a golf course and still shoot a decent score. Where I'm at the minute now, where I've got my swing into a place where I can't even do that because I'm being so disciplined on my backswing that I've not focused on my downswing at all because I'm like my backswing is the core issue. I need to nail this. Then once it gets into later February, March time, then I can combine both together. But
But
realistically,
let me explain. The issue with that is then once you get into that routine of your swing, where you're
mhm,
bringing in backswing and downswing, your backswing is going to go back straight back to square one because you're going to fall back
mhm,
into your swing falls back down into your usual habit.
yeah,
You're just doing it. You're not swinging to it like you're not in an environment where your patterns are changing. You're just doing a
yeah,
backswing movement. It's
Yeah.
nothing to do with an actual golf shot. And
yeah,
so if I were to tell you at the range, I'll do the right backswing, you could do it. But then if I
yeah,
ask you, okay, hit now a shot to the 100-yard target, you wouldn't be able to do it at all because you're not training your patterns and your movements and
yeah,
your kind of flow of the swing. And that's where the three balls fully on, and then three balls to a target, but with the feel. And then that's when you're getting the 1%.
Yeah.
Every
okay,
every six balls is 1%. Every six balls is 1%. Because I'm sure you can make the backswing perfect now, but you can do it.
In isolation, yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
Jordan,
You you
Jordan
you can
back me
do it
up
in
there. I
isolation.
can't even do it in isolation. I think if I do it,
You can't, you can't
if I
even do it in the
record,
living room.
I can't even do it in the living room.
What a
I
genetic
can't.
thing.
I've nearly hit the chandelier. Well, I say chandelier. That's probably putting it.
Yeah,
That actually behind Jordan there.
in the
It's about a
East
ball
Wing.
about this size.
The
It's
last one.
chandelier. I think you got a flat upgrade or something.
Chandelier.
It's not chandelier. By the way, if this podcast it looks like I've been up for 15 hours a day and speaking to people all day, that's exactly what it's been like. So yeah, words like
Your
chandelier.
batch is going to be awful when you get back there.
Oh dear.
Oh, it's going to be terrible. But yeah, it's yeah, Rob, you're right. I need to start combining it all together and put it more of a, you might suppose, put it into context instead of just working
Yeah.
on literally just my backswing. But it's one of those that I should probably predominantly work on my backswing, but not just that. I needs to combine with other elements.
Similar
Yeah,
to Rob, I like the three ball thing. So what I do is if
That's
I'm
great.
working on technique, I'll do three balls. I'll do one first ball's backswing, second ball's downswing, third ball altogether. So it's not just isolating one bit of your technique. Is if I'm having like a technique session, that's what
hmm
I'll do for that because then you're not like we said about your strengths and weaknesses. You want to keep your strength for strength. So unless your backswing and downswing are both so bad, then one's going to be slightly better than the other. So you don't want to like go from here then to like there. You want to go from there to like there. So
hmm
yeah, I like that.
Yep.
cool. Yeah, it's I keep getting no, but I keep getting told. My coach told me to do the three ball thing as well, and I haven't been doing it because I'm so focused on the backswing. But you make good points that now I go in the golf course and I literally can't even swing a golf club, and that's not an exaggeration. I'm even well, not getting into it.
No,
It's
no,
bad.
you played well,
Yeah,
Craig,
what happened on
on
what happened on
Oh,
Saturday.
I played
Saturday?
well at Clearly, yeah. It doesn't really explain how bad my putting was, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
working your backswing affects your putting too? That's what it seemed like.
Well, the backswing and your putting, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, probably. Um, the next one is so number 7 is accept bad shots and where you are. And before I forget, Rob, I wanted to go to you because I remember you had a good week last week. And then after round 3, I asked you how you got on, and you said about an incident early on in the round that affected you, and you knew that wasn't like you, and kind of coming back from that, but you had the awareness to kind of clamp down on it. So just from your perspective, like accepting bad shots and how important that is to get over things quite early.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Last week, usually in my game, I'm very good at like just accepting, reflecting, moving on,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and I could 100% feel the difference in that third round where I wasn't good at that, and then I could just feel one, the frustration in me just build, 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 and two, just getting like no improvements while the round was going on because because I wasn't accepting, I couldn't reflect well on what I was doing. So I couldn't be accountable on, okay, what did I do wrong here? Was my routine off? Did I feel was the flow off? Did I feel like, was I nervous over the putt? Did I actually, was I focused? Did I have a good read on it? I was too focused on being angry that I'd missed, that I three putted the first, missed a 4 footer, angry that I missed like another 4 footer on six. That I was so angry about that and thinking like, how this is madness. Well, I'm like throwing away such a good week right now. With that is that I just stopped the accepting, stopped the reflecting, and the reflecting then stopped the calmness and the once you start like building the frustration, then the fear of failure comes in. It's all like a
Mhm.
downward spiral from there, and then it's like, and then you feel like every 3 footer you have, you're gonna miss.
Yeah, you like put
And
yourself under more pressure.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's the spiral you can get under. Whereas the second round, I remember feeling that my putting wasn't very good. I missed a three. My putter didn't feel great. Missed a 3 footer on the ninth. But then I remember going, I missed it because like I kind of I rushed the stroke. I wanted the ball to go in
Mhm.
Yeah.
before I even putted it. I needed it to go in.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, then on the next putts, like, no, hit the stroke and let the ball find the hole after. Like, don't rush the ball in the hole. And then put it really well on the back nine. And then it's funny how he did the complete opposite on the next day, on the Saturday, and then I end up missing 3 short ones in the last 6 or 7 holes just from the all of this building up, and
Yeah.
then and
Mhm.
and just getting worse and worse instead of like
Yeah.
not actually reflecting and getting better. And that's the huge part of like, because the accepting allows you to reflect and allows you to be accountable on what you're doing and be like, okay, was my focus on, was I knowing what I'm doing? And I see this with a lot of amateurs when they hit a bad shot. It's like, oh, I can only slice the ball, and it's no like,
There's nothing
or
constructive there, is there?
yeah, there's no constructive self-talk. There's no like inclination of finding a way. There's no
Yeah.
let's get myself out of this fucking shitty place I've put myself into. There's no the knack, like
Mm.
a bit like Arsenal's defense, it's
That's
they're
that's
Yeah.
it.
just
That's the first time you see say for example, if you see a stake in the right on the next hole, you're gonna be thinking about it. Whereas if you've had a good attitude, giving yourself the space to think about what's gone on and what you can do better, you can nip it earlier and then
yeah.
choose a better shot and a better swing on the next shot.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got
Yeah.
the master of accepting bad shots with us in Jordan Sunborg, because I remember when I didn't know Jordan too well at the start. It's maybe my first or second year. It must have been second year, and I was caddying for you at Lossiemouth. And when I say Jordan had two shanks in the round, he literally had two proper shanks in the round and still shot like two or three over. And when he hit the shanks, he just went, "I've just shanked it." That was it. And I'm thinking, I was off like five or something at the time, thinking, if I shanked it, my club would be
Yeah.
following the ball right now. I'm not even joking. I'd be going mad. And he just was like, I've shanked it. And then not only that, 9 holes later, he shanked it again and then got like up and down for par and was like, how? And then just did not phase him the whole way through the round. So Jordan, where does that kind of, do you think that's a taught thing? Do you think that's something you
Um,
worked out quite early in golf, or is it just your attitude is
yeah, I've listened
okay?
two pieces of advice I've listened to. One is play one shot at a time, and playing one shot at a time is really, really easy to say, but really, really hard to do. So what I used to say to a lot of people is if you had one round that was spread over 70 days or whatever it is, 72 days or whatever you shoot, right? But you had one shot per day, you would put so much focus on that one shot because it's your only shot for the day. So if you were to play 18 holes over 70 days, right? Or whatever, how many of days it is to make
101.
sure, you're gonna you're gonna put so much effort into that one shot because it's your only one shot of the day. So if you treat it like this is the only shot that you've got of the day, then you're gonna put so much effort into that, and you've just got to, again, it's like 30, 40, 60 seconds or a minute and a half where you're actually thinking about the shot and hitting the shot compared to your whole round, which might be 5 hours. So, you know, it's trying to hit one shot at a time. I think is really important, really easy to say, really hard to do. And the other one was you need to act like you're playing for nothing, but you're playing for everything. I think that's what Scotty Scheffler does really well. He acts like he's playing for nothing, but he's actually playing for everything. So if you, the best sportsman in the world, can control their emotions, where even if you talk to them or whatever, it acts like they act like they're playing for nothing, but they're actually playing for everything. So they're always playing for something, right? On the tour or whatever it may be. But if they, don't have this hot head or this like pressure that they put on themselves, then you're going to be just fine. So if you know, act in a way that it almost doesn't mean something to you. Obviously, it means everything to you. But if you're acting, if you're telling your brain that it doesn't mean anything, then you're going to be just fine, because your brain reacts to your body and how calm you are, and your breathing and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where you're going to hit bad shots. You might not hit many bad shots in one round and just play really well. You might hit loads and get away with it. You might hit loads of good shots and get unlucky. So
Yeah, exactly.
again, playing golf, it being outdoors, you're going to get bad bounces. You're going to get gusts. You're going to get shots where you catch it fat, catch it thin, whatever it may be. You might lip out, whatever. Doesn't mean you've hit a bad shot. You might hit a putt from, and again, it's the acceptance is for me. I look at stats. So if the odds are in my favor, then I'd be a little bit more confused or annoyed at like missing putts, for example. So PJ Tour average for 50% is just inside 8 feet. So anything outside 8 feet, I'm not expected to hole. So therefore, if I miss a putt, even if it's dead straight from 9 feet or dead straight from 12 feet or whatever, I'm not expected to hole that. If a fairway might be 30 yards wide, I'm expected to probably to hit that. If it's 15 or my landing zone is 15 yards wide, I'm probably not expected to hit it. If I do hit it, I'm buzzing. And I think actually I put more energy into my good shots than I do my bad shots. So I'm more buzzing about the good shots that I hit than I'm more annoyed about the bad shots that I hit, because you probably hit more bad shots than you do good shots, therefore you expend more energy. So if you, like I said, if analyze the bad shots but appreciate the good shots, because you don't hit many of them. So if you hit a 7-iron to 5 feet, yeah, sweet, unreal. You know what I mean? Like quality shot. But if you miss the green with a pitching wedge, yeah, it's going to happen. So,
That's a good point. Yeah, it's, you've got when you that's it. You've got to understand also what a bad shot is, and you're right. If you're there to enjoy the sport, so if you hit a bad shot and you get away with it, then enjoy that. You don't say if you do. If, I don't know, maybe your shank one hits a tree, goes in the green. Don't worry about the shank. Go and make the most of it.
Yeah, but it's a good point, because like what you're saying about knowing what a bad shot is, because like the second part of this point, which is accept the bad shots and know where you are, and that means like understand your level. And I think we have this talk quite a lot about, say you've got a 6-iron into a green, if you hit it to 25, 30 feet at any level, that's a pretty good shot. And you've got weekend golfers who will have like a 6-iron from 160 maybe, and they're just off the green, maybe in the fringe, and they're annoyed at it because they didn't catch it pure, or they thinned it or chunked it. And I'm like,
and they've not practiced in 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like your expectations are already way ahead of what maybe mine would be, and even then, I would be like, I've hit this pearly and it still went to the fringe. That's the way I would view it. I'd be like, oh, I'm just glad that that's where it's ended up, and just focus on the next shot now. So yeah, I think understand your level and realizing, like, take time to look at tour averages. We're actually going to do an episode on strokes gained, because that's the name of our podcast, and I think a lot of people don't actually know what it is. But we'll have an episode about stats, and you'll be surprised that, like, and it kind of ties into accepting the bad shots. Like, the pros don't have it in a string every week. I'm sure Rob and Jordan can tell you that they don't have a string every week. I remember Lee Westwood, when he was world number one, said he used to show up to the range and sometimes before a round go, oh, looks like I'm hitting fades today. Like, you just got to play with what you got, manage the bad shots. And I suppose that kind of comes into the next point, which is number 8.
Well, before we go, I'll just quickly jump in with a little nugget here. Like, if I could put all of this under one umbrella, is just being able to forgive yourself. And being able to forgive yourself is such an underrated skill in the game of golf. And it's something that I've worked a lot on with my mental coaches. It's the fastest way to be grounded and to be in the moment is to be able to be so good at forgiving yourself no matter what. Like, and this is something, for example, Kempo. I know if this is like if you this is a skill that I think your game would benefit with the most. Like, you'd hit one bad one, and you'd start calling yourself like, oh, I'm shit. I can't hit a fade.
That's true.
Like, how can you work so much at this game and be so shit? And you're the most non-forgiving person.
Self-deprecating. Yeah.
Self-deprecating, yeah.
Self non.
Whereas, like, Ethan, you're actually quite good at that. You're fairly forgiving with yourself, which sometimes I don't know if that's a good thing.
I'm not forgiving about this backswing thing at the minute, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Clearly. But if you can, like, same thing with my putt, like, that I missed on early in the one that I missed on Friday. I was I was okay with it. I forgave myself straight away. I was like, it's all right. Like, it's okay to miss putts, and then it gets you grounded and you're into next hole. Whereas if you're self-deprecating, your mind will just remember that for the rest of the day, and you can't move on, and then you can't be in the present moment, and you have to be able to go like, you know what, a bit psychological, a bit psychotic, but literally tell yourself, I forgive you. You missed one, you're still a decent guy, maybe.
Yeah, it depends. We still talk about Kempo because I don't know if it applies to it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to say that.
But
But,
yeah,
like, it's okay. Like, you'll get the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that you really can practice, and that'll help you get your feet on the ground and accept, and it falls on. That's the first step of the whole umbrella, really.
Yeah, and I think it can sometimes be like that forgiveness bit can also be what people think is ego, which is going, I've hit a bad putt, but I can still bounce back from it. But I think that's what separates even decent club players from a lot better is you have like guys at the club, you'll be like 2 over after 3. And if you're off like 5, you're going, that's 2 of my strokes in the front 9 already gone. Whereas good players are going, it's fine, just be patient. And then they have like 3 birdies in a row and it's like, right, I've just started all over again. And it's like you've
Yeah.
forgiven yourself that I'm going to have a couple of bad shots. I might have missed a couple of putts, but I know that over the course of a round or even the course of a tournament, that hopefully you're not going to have it every week, but you're like, hopefully my best stuff's going to show through sometimes in the round. Maybe not the whole time throughout the round, but just having that trust that, okay, I'm shot 2 over now. The goal is right. I'm going to take this round on and really try and get, well, whether we should be thinking about scores or not is another issue, but thinking that's okay. Next hole, as Jordan says, one shot at a time. I can back myself to make a birdie or hit it close. Give me up myself an opportunity to make something out of this round. Whereas most people will be going, right, well, there's 2 bogeys. I'm only allowed to make 3 more for the rest of the round. I've got 15 holes to play. And then it just spirals out of control. But the best way to manage your bad shots is number 8, learn real course management early.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, how important is course management?
Course management is really important because it can turn your round from bad to average and average to good and good to great. So if you're not hitting it great, course management is really, really important because you've got to understand that if you're missing it one way or you're not hitting a certain shot that you want to hit early on, then you've got to really evaluate that in your own game. But then, if you're talking about actual on-course stuff, then you've got to realize that there will be some times where you need to suck it up and hit driver on a tight hole, or not. It's not a case of playing safe; it's a case of playing smart, right? So people go, "Oh, you hit your wedge to the middle of the green there." Well, yeah, but because if I miss it left, then I'm probably going to make bogey because I'm short-sighted. So it's one of those things that like you say, you're playing smart, not safe. So if you're unsure about how to do that, I just play middle of the green on every hole, and you probably see your score dramatically improve because people just get really excited about going for flags, even with like a gap wedge or a sand wedge or a pitching wedge. Just hit the middle of the green, and then if your partner's not too bad, you'll do just fine because If you then hit in the middle of the green with a pitching wedge, then you're going to want to hit in the middle of the green with a 4 iron, then you want to hit in the middle of the green with a 7 iron. So, and again, you might push it and pull it, it might go close to the hole, and you might get lucky. So if you're just eliminating the big numbers and playing smart golf, then you're not going to be too far, because if you're playing around a golf where you're not making doubles, then you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, it seems like it's course management is probably the biggest differential on tour as well. I mean, you look at players like again Scheffler; they all hit it unbelievable now, but why is he so much better? It's because he plays smart and clever golf, and players like I don't know, a Matt Kuchar. How has he won so much money when he doesn't hit it the best? He just plays smart, clever golf. And like I say, that's probably the biggest difference among the tour is how smart they are and how they can
Yeah.
get the ball around the course.
And smart golf can still be attacking golf.
Of course,
You
you can,
know?
yeah, in the right
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
exactly.
If you're flushing driver, why are you taking a 2 iron off the tee? Because the hole's tight. You know, get the extra 30, 40 yards, 50 yards, wherever it may be. Because you know you're hitting driver well, you've got to take advantage of what you're doing well. You know, if you're putting well, then and you're not hitting your irons great, then you're probably going to go for the middle of the green because you know you're putting well. You know, if you're hitting your irons great, you're going to go for flags. You know, so it's one of
Yeah.
those things that I think you've really got to take advantage of what's going for you instead of being scared of what's not going well.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. I mean, obviously, learning to hit the ball is very important, but as Rob has made the point before, just because you can flush a 6 iron doesn't mean you're going to make it in tour. There's a lot more to golf than that. And I think actually tying back into the previous point about accepting bad shots, you can manage your tendencies like we talked about last. I don't want to repeat ourselves, but you can manage your tendencies by having good course management. So I know if my irons, I'm going to hit a draw. So I'm going to set up in a position where if I overdraw it, it's still going to be okay. I know maybe 1 out of 10 times I'm going to push it. So I'm just going to have to accept that 1 out of 10 times I'm going to aim where I want, commit to it, and hit a bad shot. That's going to happen. Hopefully, only 1 out of 10 times. But if I, and then maybe 4 out of 10 times it does what I want to do, and the rest is like an average shot that's maybe overdrawn, but I'm still leaving myself with a putt or an easy chip. So it's like, and then on the bad days, that might be exaggerated even more. Um, and yeah, have course management in terms of you've hit a bad shot and you're behind a tree and you're literally got no chance to get out. Don't try and go for the hero shot because guys on tour don't go for it. They chip
Yeah.
out and they'll fancy themselves with a wedge to get up and down.
Yeah, it's that the best way to make bogey is usually the best way to make par. So
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. I mean, course management. I think for a lot of golfers, and
Wow.
we know,
That's a good saying, Campbell. I'll keep that. I'll
I've
keep
done
that
it a
one
few times, mate. Don't
into
worry.
this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying that now. That's great.
but I think it's but back to your point, Jordan, about how it turns like, for example, a bad round into an average round is where people are, say, you're a couple over after nine, you know you're not playing your best, and then you're faced with a shot that is in your mind, you're going, if I pull this off, it's going to get my round back on track. And you don't want to be negative and think you don't necessarily want to be negative and go, well, if this doesn't pull off, I'm going to make a double. Like just chip out, and hopefully at worst you're going to have an easy 2 putt for bogey,
No.
and you can just move on from there. And like you might be 3 over instead of potentially 5, 6 over, but you're not going to gain an eagle for going for it. So what's the point?
Yeah.
I think the biggest, the most underrated skill in golf is golf IQ. And
Yeah.
that's, being able to play a golf course, get out of these situations. And that's where I'd encourage anyone to really do all you can, even if, taking a lesson, going out with a pro for, a 4 hole, an on-course lesson is way more valuable to so many people than just going to the driving range.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people don't do that enough. It's so important. Or ask the best player at your course to go play 9 holes. You will learn so much I remember the first time I played 9 holes with the best player at my course, and I was like, how he's playing that hole like that, and then never even thought about that. And you ask him, why are you doing that? And then you'll learn so much from that, and then you'll learn so much when they hit a bad shot and how they recover or where they're missing. And you're like, and you every time, like a lot of programs I've played, people have been like, you didn't play very well, did you? I was like, well, I usually don't play that well because they're always
Yeah.
expecting you to hit every shot to about 3 feet.
Yeah.
And it's like,
True.
no. And then they look at the score and, but you shot 4 under, and but you were pretty shit. I'm like, well, Yeah, that's like the
Yes,
point of the game.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
where the golf IQ is huge. And I'm sure yourself and Kemp will, even through union stuff, playing with the top players is one of a huge reason of why you're still one, why
Yeah.
you still love, or you've kind of been able to move up a few gears
Hmm.
and see what it take like that. It doesn't take a
Yeah,
lot to
Yeah.
shoot a
I think
68
that's
or
I
69.
that's
mean,
that's that's the point we're going to make. Like the next one
I
is
was about to say, yeah,
um, play with better players to improve faster, but it is no, I don't want to say it's basically the same thing, but I feel like there's one thing teaching course management, and it's the same as you can give tips, but you actually have to really
yeah,
see it for yourself. Like I'm probably
Yeah.
I'm pretty good example where I went to uni, hit the ball completely average. I mean, I would still kind of pride myself in still getting the ball around, but I was nowhere near an optimal golfer. And actually, when the first 2 years of uni, my swing probably didn't change a huge amount, but playing with better players, you were going out in the course, even bounce games at our golf club with the uni, or playing bucks events, or even matches, you would go out and think, oh, that's not the way I would have played it, or why is he chipping out there? And then you play with him, he shoots like 3 or 4 under, and go, all right, that's why he chips out because he knows that it's one hole out of 18, it's one shot out of 70 odd. Like it's not the end of the world if you have to chip out, take your medicine, and go for it. And that's one thing you can tell players, but until they start playing with better players than themselves, they can't really appreciate.
Hmm.
Yeah, I see that so much with, especially when people get down to 9, 10 handicap, but then they keep playing with, people like 12, 15 handicap, and they never drop below 10 because they're always stuck in that 9, 10 handicapper mindset. Same with like 4 or 5 handicap. How many people do you know that get stuck on 4 or 5 handicap?
Hmm.
It's just insane. And they
Yeah.
can't get better. And a lot of it is down to because they just need to play a few times with guys off +2 and realize that, or +2 or scratch, and realize that there's actually, you know, not much difference at all. And then there's a
well,
confidence
yeah,
shift. But
the difference
and
is
then
not in the way they hit it; it's in other things.
yeah, it's in the way they manage their game on a golf course and the course management.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
But also,
it,
it also shows you what you need to practice because I think it's easy to think if you're off 4 or 5, I need to hit more 6 irons, but then you realize, okay, it's a lot of it's course management, but a lot of it is like wee things. You maybe should be working on your wedge game a lot more, for example, like to know that when you have to chip out, you've still got a good chance of getting up and down. I mean, if you're chipping out and you've got 100 yards in and you're missing greens from 100 yards, that's not really a course management issue. That is technique issue. So there is kind of like an overlap there where, but I feel like most 4 or 5 handicappers are going to back themselves from 100 yards to get it within a decent distance, but they maybe won't take that extra step or reflect to think I should chip out here, or actually, you know what, I'm in a pretty tough position right now. I've bad light, flopping over a bunker. I'm not going to try and hit it to 3 feet. I'm going to accept that 20 feet's decent. I might hold a putt, but if I walk off with a bogey, it's not the end of the world. Like that process is so hard in the game to kind of get over because not that a lot of golfers have ego, but I feel like they expect too much of themselves.
yeah.
And then once you realize what Jordan said about one shot at a time, just give yourself a chance on every hole. Don't, yeah, the game's hard enough. Don't put yourself in a position where you've been presented with a tough lie, tough situation, and you're hoping for the 1 in 20, 1 in 30 shot to come off.
Yep.
But yeah, um, yeah, we
but
could talk about that for ages.
big
Go,
ramble there from Ethan.
yeah, it was. Yeah, that one cut deep. That one. Yeah, that was me for many years. And then finally, I mean, this is great. I'm getting loads of ideas for podcasts. We can do a golf IQ one. I keep thinking we're repeating ourselves, and then we end up coming out with slightly different angles. So we'll do a golf IQ one. And then finally, short game number 10. Short game and putting are earned skills. Um, so I'll start with this one because I said that I was going to put 1 hour a week with it in the flat. I think on average for the past 3 weeks I've done about 40 minutes a week. And the annoying thing is I was pure out in the flat and then went out in the golf course and still putt terribly. But that's a different thing. But yeah, deserving to be a good putter. I think some people, me, I'll just say me, I'll show up to like tournaments and then get annoyed at my putting, but I know that if I compare it to the rest of my game, I've not put the same amount of hours in. So what do I expect? I just expect to show up and putt well most of the time. I think most people are going to have the really good putting days, but they don't come often for me. But I can't expect that because I'm not putting the hours in. But I know, Rob, you put this point in about short game and putting being earned skills. So what exactly did you mean by that?
Yeah, it's it's like learning a language. It's you can't just expect to turn up and it's just there. Like you have to know what the foundations are. You have to know what you need to do to hit a good putt. What are the foundations of your stroke? Like there's so much stuff that goes into putting
Mm-hmm.
that you need to figure out, that you need to understand before or you're just going to be someone who like one day you might turn up and it'll be good, but 4 days you'll turn up and it'll be bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like most golfers are.
A lot of
And it's
amateurs
even
hide behind, oh, I'm just a streaky putter, so I don't need to try it. I don't need to put the effort.
exactly because they'll have that one day where they got up on the right side of the bed and things have fallen into place,
Yeah.
and they'll have a good round putting. Because statistically, it's going to happen. Even if you're a terrible putter, you're going to have a good
Mm-hmm.
round putting, one in 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then you feel like, oh well, I put it well once,
So it's there. Yeah.
so it's there. Yeah,
Yeah. But it's the same
exactly.
reason that you could be good that time is that you're bad the other times, which it could be such a
Exactly.
simple thing, which is your setup maybe in general isn't good. And whatever you've done on that day, the counteracting movements for that one day have lined up. So you're actually putting well, but then you're going to go and play again and your setup's going to
Yeah.
go skew with again and then you're going to putt badly. It's not, yeah, it's definitely an earned skill.
Yeah. It's
And
understanding what the common denominators are and what make you good at putting. And I think, Rob, this is probably something that you do, something I should do better is, but you probably can get to an event at a different course in a different country, and you've probably got a standardized way of checking your setup. Your distance away from the ball and ball position and eye position and that kind of stuff that you can do before you go and play. Whereas again, myself sometimes I've been known to change grip between rounds, so like you need to understand what makes you tick, and then you need to make sure it's there before you go out.
Yeah, but people think that it's such like pros must work so hard, and it's like it's never ending, and we're thinking about it in our sleep and stuff. I go down there tomorrow before my round. It's 5 minutes,
Yeah, but it'll be a station that
and
you've set up. You'll have some kind of checkpoints, won't you?
yeah, and it's just a question you need to ask yourself: like, do you have 5 minutes, or are you too lazy to put in 5 minutes to actually enjoy your round? How much more do you enjoy golf when you
so
putt
true.
well?
Oh,
It's a joke. It's
yeah,
an honestly, it blows my mind. Like how much more if you have a good putting round, people come in and they're just so happy, and
I
you
forget
you
about
could
it
tell
before.
that you could tell in the bar after a round who's had a good putting round
Yeah,
It's so
and
true.
who's had
so true.
a terrible putting round. And people even like if that's your whole like happiness around golf revolves like over it, and people won't have put in 5 minutes
Yeah.
to do these check boys. It is something that
It's
I find.
because I mean, how many putts do you have around? If you put well, you'll have 30 putts around, which is nearly 50%, hopefully, of the shots you'll have in a round. So it's such a big part of golf, and it's almost like you feel like you're stealing shots off the course when you play well. Whereas when you're playing badly, it's usually because you're putting badly. You're losing shots to the course.
Well, it's a weird dynamic with the putter because it's the club that people associate your score with. Because usually the last club you're hitting for
Yeah,
that
in every hole.
hole, and
Yeah,
also as you say, Kempo, it could be you come in the clubhouse and go, I hit it everywhere today and still shot level, and that's
exactly.
because you're
And
putting,
that is the
or
best feeling in golf.
yeah, or it's like I played
Yeah.
really well today, but I didn't hole anything.
Because well,
That's the first thing you
that's
say.
the worst feeling in golf. So
So
that's it. You can
Yeah.
go either way.
It feels like it's like similar like to negotiating, like negotiation, like you're buying something, and if you're putting well, it feels like you've gotten like 30% off like
Yeah,
this item.
yeah,
But when you
yeah,
put bad, it's like the price tag on like this whatever you're buying is like 20 quid, and if you put bad, it's like you bought it for 30 quid. That's the feeling you get,
yeah, getting
you
ripped
know?
off.
you feel
You're
like you're
getting
ripped off.
ripped
Yeah,
off
yeah,
completely.
Yeah.
And it's just like find a way to have something to help you with aiming right,
Hmm.
have something to help you with starting the ball online, and have a little drill in there to help you with pace. It's like 5 to 10 minutes, and it'll change your putting.
What's the drill that you do for pace before you go out on a course, Rob?
To what?
What's a drill you would do for pace before you went out?
Well, I do just a simple one. Go 15 feet clockwise around the hole, three putts, and you have to get it in between half a foot and a foot and a half after the cup.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're still at holding pace. You're still in a routine, and you're moving around. So you have a 1 foot gap basically that you have to put the ball in. If you hit in the hole account, you just have to put three in a row in.
Got it.
It's simple, it's fast, and
Yeah. You can go to the first tee with the pace of the greens in your hands rather than
yeah, it takes you don't need a huge putting green. Just go around. You can even just do an uphill and a downhill. You can do it twice, and I'll just give you the pace because the pace you want is the ball going a foot behind the cup. So between half a foot and a foot and a half behind it, get three in a row in. And it's actually you'll think, oh, that's so easy just to get three in a row, like within like a foot behind the hole. But try it, you'll see it's much harder than
you'll
it
miss
looks.
your tee time.
Yeah, I've been made to miss it. Yeah, I said 5 minutes. I might have been lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is unfortunately we are out of time because I have to go and meet my. Say have to. I'm buzzing to meet my colleagues and I'm buzzing to have food, but I've just been non-stop. So yeah, hopefully you got a lot from that episode. It's given me plenty of all of us plenty of ideas for other episodes as well. I think we can do one on putting alone that I'll probably just sit and nod my head to the
Well,
most time.
I actually took quite a lot of notes there. I learned quite a lot in that episode, so that's always good.
Yeah, so it's we'll just recap. So we did 6 was practice with purpose and track progress. 7, accept bad shots and where you are. 8 is learn real course management early. And then tied into that was number 9, play with better players to improve faster. And then 10, short game and putting around skills. So hopefully those 10 in total over the last 2 weeks have given you plenty of insights on what to work on in terms of not necessarily actually technique. A lot of this we didn't focus on technique. It was more about the golf IQ side of the game, which you could probably speak about a bit more too. So yeah, soon we'll probably speaking about live again soon, maybe strokes gained, what the metric is, PJ Tour stats.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. Follow us on all the socials and yeah, see you in the next one.
Cheers.
See ya.
Cheers.
Cheers.